Hey guys, how you doing? Ray here again. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, it's Nitro Kyosho. Here I have one of my new toys, the geico boat, and I just wanted to show anybody who'd be getting one of these in the future a couple of little things. One, when I got this, I didn't like the way it was loosely wired inside, and they had the wires here for the batteries flopping on top of this. So what I did was I put a little Velcro band here to keep these behind the shaft on the other side, so they wouldn't be hitting that up here. Another thing I noticed in the manual, the receiver was back here. When I got it, the receiver was up here, so I moved that. They had the zip tie going across here, and they had these wires squished down kind of tight, which is not a good thing. So I moved that. And I also bought some aftermarket Velcro you can get at Walmart, and you can get it a lot cheaper than at the hobby shop. I got about 10 feet of it for $7. And because in here, this is the whole length of where the battery can go, I ran the hook and loop side down there. Alright, the loop, where it's got the hooks, the loops or whatever they call it, that side, not the fuzzy side. And I put it along the whole length on either side because it said in the book, by moving the battery around changes the center of gravity and affects the performance. So this way I can move the battery all the way up and down. They just gave a little strip like that to put in there. This way, if I want to move the battery up here or move it in the middle or back, it'll have Velcro along the whole part in there. Another thing that I noticed in the book here is it talks about that there should be a 1 millimeter gap between the stuffing box and the propeller mount as shown. And you can, you probably can't see it too good in here, guys, but on the boat here you'll be able to see it better. There was a big gap, about almost an eighth to a quarter of an inch, between this white stuffing material and where the propeller back here connects. And I think that was giving me some glitching and some problems because that shaft was moving in and out too much. So I took my digital caliper, I measured 1 millimeter, and I moved this in. Also in the book it shows quite a few threads coming out of that nut. The nut was barely on there. And tomorrow I'm going to go to AutoZone and get a can of marine grease. Instead of paying crazy amounts of money at hobby shops for it, I can go get a giant tube of it at AutoZone. And I'm going to take this out, this flex shaft out, and I'm going to double check it to see if there's actually grease in there, because I don't know if they actually did put grease or didn't, but it's always a good idea to check. It's a fairly simple operation as far as just removing these two nuts here, and then going in here with a couple of 10 millimeters and separating this, and then pulling that shaft out. And according to the book here, that's a very key part. One of the few maintenance things that you have to do is lubricating the flex shaft. And you know, guys, with my experience with nitro cars and my experience with helicopters, it doesn't hurt to double check somebody else's work, because you don't know if that day in the factory the guy was having a bad day or got a phone call or something or forgot to do it. I've seen it before, guys, with helicopter stuff and nitro cars. So, you know, it's a fairly simple operation here to do, and in my opinion it's definitely worth to double check that before you I've only had this on the water a couple of times, and I said, well, I'm going to check that just to make sure. But this was definitely not set up right from the factory. And I didn't like I said, I didn't like the way they had wired stuff. They had put the receiver in the book. The receiver is shown back here, and if I had left these wires like they had them bopping on this, they would have worn out eventually. So I basically just put my own touch on the way I wanted it wired and to clean up the wiring, and I think it looks a lot better. And this is a good idea too with the Velcro to get an aftermarket piece, so you can really move that battery anywhere you want in there, because that's a big thing too. In the book here it says that by it says here changing the center of gravity, moving the batteries to the front or to the back can significantly affect the boat's performance. And then it says as a starting point, about 9 inches from the back of the boat is about even. And then if you move them towards the rear of the boat, that'll raise the front of the hull out of the water for increased speed. If you move the batteries towards, or that was towards the rear, I'm sorry guys, excuse me. It says if you move the batteries towards the front of the boat for faster initial acceleration to eliminate oscillating or bouncing and increase stability. So it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of stuff with boats like there was with nitro cars and helicopters, but there are a couple of little things here and there that I'm going to have to get used to. But anyways, I just wanted to share that video and this information with you guys. Once again, double check your distance back here, guys, because mine was out about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, and they're saying only 1 millimeter. So I adjusted that, re-Loctited it. The Loctite, there was no Loctite on this motor nut here, which is not a good thing. So I used a medium strength Loctite, and that's about it, guys. So I've got a couple of Lipo batteries coming, and hopefully we'll get another video out this weekend of it with the Lipo batteries. I got a couple of 4200s coming, and we'll see how it performs with those. It was pretty quick with the I was running these batteries in the video you saw, which are just these are low C 7.2 volt 3600 milliamp 6 cells NIMH, and they're pretty heavy, so that's definitely going to slow it down too. Lipo batteries are a lot lighter. So anyways, just a couple little tips that I found, and thanks for watching.